What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Buffalo Fanatics film session live. I'm your host, Clay Troy, and with me is my co-host,
Kendall Mursky. As always, a little bit different week this time around, especially coming off the victories that we had. But, we'll try to put as much positive spice in there as we can. But, of course, this is going to be a different week. We're probably going to be a little bit, I don't even know what's the word. I had time to think about it there. And I'm a little bit more critical of the team this time around. But, we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, perhaps slightly more negative, maybe, just because we've been winning every game so soundly, until Monday night. So we haven't really had too much to complain about. So now we actually do have some things that we can complain about. I think even if the Bills had won this game, I think there would be a fair amount of things to complain about because it was a close game, and I think there were a lot of things throughout the game that kind of built up into that kind of built up into that loss, where it was, it wasn't one thing, it wasn't one person. It was just a lot of these little things that just kept on adding up, which I think hurts even worse when you can't just point at something and be like, that's it. That's why we lost. It's like, well, if we did that better, we might have won. If we did this better, we might have won. If we did that better, if they didn't do this, we could have won. So it's like, that's the tough part, where it's when there isn't that certainty and that definitive thing that you can just point at and say, yeah, we lost because of that.
Yeah, it's funny because we see it in the comments already, the 76-yard touchdown, 2 holding calls. That's the thing. It's like, it's those plays, like, you could, I don't want to say lazily, because, I mean, if Andre Smith doesn't get that call on the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown,
right?
We might be talking a little bit differently this week, and maybe you could isolate that play just because it was so late and it would have given us a touchdown, but they would have had time on the clock, and, then they could have gone down the field and get a touchdown. We didn't stop them once in the second half. So you're right. At the end of the day, you can't pin it on one play, but it is pretty easy to say, hey, if we had that touchdown, things could have been different. Isaiah McKenzie could have been feeling a lot more confident. We could have been feeling a lot more confident going into the bye week, things like that. So yeah, definitely a tough one to sleep on, especially on a Monday night. It makes it all that more different for us. I feel like our primetime luck has just, it hasn't quite been there. And I think we've been talking about that. I mean, I know I haven't been talking about it with you, but I feel like Bills Mafia talks about how comfortable we are at 1 p.m. on Sundays.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like primetime games are one thing. But yeah, the Monday night, it's like you're the last game of the week. Sure, everyone's watching Sunday night, but I think it's even just the same, where there's no football all day on a Monday night. So it's the only football game that you get. So I think everyone's a little more amped up for it. It makes it a little more, pressure. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just Mike Vrabel has our number or what, but
he didn't in the first quarter, though. He
he definitely didn't. No,
the camera was on him the whole time. He was sweating.
Oh, he was not feeling good. But that defense picked up very well in the second half, and they started running some really sophisticated blitzes that were throwing the offensive line off. And I think we're probably going to go over maybe a couple of those at some point because it was an issue. But sure. It still wasn't a terrible game. The Bills lost, but it wasn't a terrible game. They still played really well.
Points.
Exactly. Yeah, you put up 31 points, and you played against Derrick Henry, and you maybe made a few too many mistakes. One or two too many mistakes, and that's it. That's the difference maker there. It's a team that maybe we'll see again. We might see them again in the playoffs, because I do think they're a team that can make the playoffs. They're probably going to win that division. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's it's a hurt. It hurts, but you said it best. I can't remember where you said this. If it was in the chat or on Twitter, but you said you don't win a Super Bowl in October. You win a Super Bowl in
Hey,
February.
I stole that from you.
Did
I
you?
stole that from you in the preseason. I mean, not the wording, but the idea of it. I stole that from you, man. Like you said it, I think in the preseason, you were like, or no, it was after the Steelers loss. You were like, we don't need to be playing our best right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what these games are for, especially when we're the type of team that we are. You don't have to win all of your games up front if you have Super Bowl aspirations. You need to obviously win enough to win your division, which Sean McDermott preaches. Win the division. That's the first step. And then you get a better seed from there, from winning your division, and it makes it easier in the postseason. But yeah, our goal is the postseason, and that's what you said. We don't need to be playing our best football right now. It's all about what we do in the playoffs. And I'm pretty confident even with this loss, we're going to get to the playoffs. This is still a very good team. We just made one too many mistakes, like you said.
Yeah, and I think the sentiment that you were thinking of was when I was talking about Josh and how he wasn't really playing up to standards yet. And I was like, I don't care if Josh doesn't play that well, as long as he plays well in the playoffs. That's what matters. If he figures it out week 17, week 18, that's fine. As long as he figures it out before the playoffs, then we're fine. And I think that it's a team that can win playoff games, and we know they can win playoff games, and they can compete against anybody. If nothing else, they can compete. They'll be in the game.
Yeah.
So that's all you can really ask for any team. There's no team where you can with full confidence say they're going to win every game that they play. It just doesn't happen. So I think John Herring said it earlier. Did we think we were going to go undefeated? No, we weren't going to go undefeated. We were going to lose a couple games. I even, when everyone's looking at the schedule at the beginning of the season, no one went through that schedule and said, yeah, 17-0 easily. No one even went through and probably said, 15-2. Some people probably did 3 loss. I think I did 3 or 4 loss.
I did 3 or 4.
But there's also that thing where it's like you look through and it's like, we could lose that game. We shouldn't, but we could. It's certainly a game that we could drop because it's a team that's good enough to compete against us. And that's if they can compete against us and we make a few too many mistakes, they can win the game. And I think that's what happened here. So
yeah, the Titans fall into that bucket. There aren't a lot of teams that we circled that way. I think people circled the Washington football team as a game like that, like, maybe a trap game early in the season.
Yeah, certainly. But no Fitzpatrick and their defense was not looking like we thought it was gonna. So
And I mean, we won't get to it because I don't think you even included the Derrick Henry run, but I mean that game changed like how we were defending them. Changed the second he ripped that run.
Absolutely.
And we really put a lot of effort into stopping the run even more so than we were at the beginning. And that's where we got. Just takes a couple of mistakes.
I would like to look into it a little bit more because I'm curious because it kind of what it felt like to me was if you don't hit Derrick Henry, and I'm not just saying get an arm on him or a light thud with the shoulder while you're being blocked. If you don't hit Derrick Henry within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, you're in trouble.
Yes.
And I think the Bills knew that because they were like, we have to hit him. It doesn't matter. Like he can get 7 yards, he can get 10 yards. Like we have to hit him because if you don't hit him, like you said, the momentum, I mean, mass times velocity, a lot of mass, a lot of velocity out of that man. So it's, we saw what happened when those 3 guys were getting held. Jordan Poyer, who as he was getting held, couldn't make the tackle. Not surprising. And then after that, he was just gone because that was 5 yards right there. That first contact was at. And so if he didn't stop any of that momentum, he's gone.
Yep.
So I think that's the reason why they were playing like that. And it's like, well, he didn't even do that well against us. It's like, yeah, sure, take out that one run, and he didn't do that well against us. But that's the problem, is that run reminded us of what he's able to do.
And if then you overcorrect.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a tough one. But there are still some positives to look at from it. And there are definitely some things that, at least there's things that we can look at and be like, this is where we made a mistake. That's a fixable mistake by the time we get to the playoffs. So that is something that I'm excited about as well, because not many of the mistakes we made are unfixable. So without further ado, let's get into it. You want to go first this time? I think I went first last time.
Yeah, sure. I'll go first this time. So I actually had a tough time picking my MVP. I didn't really want to pick Josh, even though he had a good game, mostly just because we talked about Josh last week.
Right.
Probably could have picked Cole Beasley. He had a really good game. But I felt like this was a very Stefon Diggs type game, where he's just taking tiny little methodical chunks out of the defense every few plays. It didn't happen for a little bit. I think it didn't start until like the second quarter or something like that. But yeah, I just thought he had a really Stefon Diggs type game. And I think we need to talk about even the little subtleties to his game that I don't know, we kind of take for granted. This is him on the touchdown, simple RPO slant route. Really, I mean, this is kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about like the subtleties to his game. A lot of wide receivers would kind of get caught up in how they want to release on what is kind of a mirror match press coverage. He's not really getting up in his face, but he's just kind of, mirror matching his footwork. And Stefon Diggs could kind of lull him to sleep a little bit more with that release, but he just gives him a quick stutter step and decisively goes on the slant right in front of his face. And I mean, I'll probably leave this to you, but the placement on this throw, the chemistry with these two, the timing, that's probably why he didn't take too long to release on this route, because he knows it's a timing route with the RPO. It's just a great play by both Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs, and it's really nice to have a number one wide receiver because, yeah, we get those little kind of things and those dances in the end zone a little bit more than, wide receiver needy teams like we once were.
Yeah, and the read is really good too by Josh. I'm not sure if he's reading the safety of the linebacker. I'm assuming in a situation like this, you'd probably want to be reading the safety because of the way Diggs is running his route. If the safety's still there, that's not going to be open. So, but yeah, I mean, the safety comes up, the linebacker also comes up, so it kind of looks like he's maybe looking through to both of those guys, and both of them come up. So he makes the right read to pull that out and try and hit Diggs with it. So good on him for making the correct read there. And then, yeah, just ball placement, very good up the field so that Diggs can continue up. And yeah, the patience from Diggs to the change of pace in his routes is so impressive. Yeah. The way he can go from slow to fast and fast to quick and quick back to slow is really cool to watch. And yeah, when he is open, when he does stuff like that, he also kind of slows down. He's never really going full speed, full speed. He gives Josh a little bit of space ahead of him. So it's like, you can overthrow me a little bit and I have a next gear that I can still hit and go get this ball. That didn't really happen on this one, but because it was kind of just a dart pass anyway. But yeah, this was a fun one.
Yeah, I think someone's talking about it in the comments. I can't find it right now, but someone's talking about obviously our red zone efficiency and how, that's something we need to get better with. Right. But, this is part of the indefensible part of our team. It's the ability to have to attack on different levels of the field. And Stefon Diggs is part of that, and obviously the multifaceted abilities of Josh Allen is the most primary part of that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the second play from Stefon Diggs here. After that little dance, of course. Let's see, where is he? Oh, so this is Diggs on a dig route. You can see him. He's the inside guy. Let me get on this screen. Inside guy in this slot bunch right here. And it's really just a great job of diagnosing the zone coverage and where to break off the top of this route. You can see he's obviously trying to clear the linebacker level. But then right as he sees number 51, David Long, who had quite a game against us, once he sees that he's kind of trying to get on the other side of his route, Diggs cuts it off right in front of his face, and he's right in between the two layers of this zone, and he makes a really easy window, well, relatively easy for what throw it actually is for Josh Allen to make. Gets on the other side of 29. I think that's Cruikshank or something like that. Yeah, it's just a really nice, once again, throw and catch, but Diggs really makes it an optimal window for Josh Allen on, like I said, not supposed to be an easy throw, but he makes it a little bit easier for him.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, he gets in that window and he knows that, hey, I'm in a window, I might have to stop. Which in this case he does, because the pressure is going to get to Allen before Allen's able to get the ball over to him on the sideline, which could have been a bigger gain if he was able to kind of float it out there a little bit more instead of hitting him in that window. But because of the pressure, that's what he had to do. So, I like how he broke that route right as that linebacker kind of got to his level so that his hips were facing completely the wrong way. And then, yeah, just being able to know where to go in that zone and make sure your eyes are back in case that ball comes to you. And it sure did.
Before we move on, I'm kind of curious. What do you think about Feliciano on this play? Do you think he's looking at the wrong side? Like, do you think he's going to help Dawkins with Landry when he should just, keep his eyes on the middle? Obviously, hindsight 2020, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's tough. I feel like, pre-snap, you would think, pause at pre-snap here if you can, just because of the way they're lined up. The way they're lined up, they've got a defensive back kind of lined up as like a linebacker who's up on the line. And then they've got 3 defensive linemen on one side and only 1 defensive lineman on the other side. So you think maybe, sure, 29 might be coming as pressure, but then you've also got the 3 guys on the other side. Maybe they're going to shift over or try to come to my side. And, me and Dawkins only have 1 guy to block together. So I feel like if anything, he should have been looking more toward his right, because that's where more linemen were. When 29 didn't rush, he should have said, oh, he's not rushing. I'm going to look over to this side for a little bit. And then until Dion might need help. But yeah, he only takes like a quick glance over. So I don't know. It's probably not a common thing and to Vrabel's credit, and I don't know the D coordinator's name, but his too. But to both of their credit, they put a lot of very confusing schemes and fronts in front of the Bills and really confused that offensive line. So this is one of those things where it's like, we're going to put 3 defensive linemen over here. And usually guards are looking to help the outside. So that's what he does here.
Yeah. I was thinking about including it, but I didn't. A little spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the last Stefon Diggs play so you can share your MVP. All right, so this is a little just curl route. It was something we see so much from Stefon Diggs. It's just like a very simple curl route. I didn't bother getting the end zone view on this because this is probably the best view we're going to get of this play. It's just a great job of understanding what the defense is doing in coverage and where to sit. Once again, sitting in the zone. This is a lot different because he's not like clearing the linebacker level and getting on the middle of the field. This is getting on the boundary and just being a friend for Josh Allen with that boundary, just getting to the sticks and getting first down. But I really liked how obviously he doesn't know that this is a cover 3, but you can see that there's 3 guys up top and the corner on the top side of the field is kind of playing more of the flat area, and he lets Sanders get right on top of him. But then on the other side, you see that corner. He's not letting Stefon Diggs on top of him, which tells you that it's probably cover 3 and he's got that deep third. But yeah, he just breaks it off, perfect timing, and makes himself available for Josh. Another really subtle play. Like, this is no spectacular play or anything, but we don't need like the OBJ one-handers coming from Stefon Diggs. That's not necessarily why you want your wide receiver to be great. You want him to be dependable. You want him to make the easy plays all the time, and then the spectacular ones when he's asked to do so or when he even gets the chance, things like that. And Stefon Diggs is just, the name of the game is dependability and consistency. That's all he's been since he's got to Buffalo, and I feel like this play kind of speaks to that. It's very subtle, but it's getting the job done.
Yeah, and this could very well be an option route too, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because the way that it's being played, the corner's so far off that you say, yeah, he's dropping back. I'm going to sit in the zone underneath. Whereas, if he's coming up and he's playing kind of that curl to flat zone, like the corner on the top of the screen is, then maybe Diggs cuts to the outside like Sanders does on the top of the screen, and he goes for that deep route instead as well. So I really wouldn't be surprised if that's hey, we're going to read it as the play goes, and, Josh and Steph are reading it together. And as soon as Steph breaks down, Josh says, yeah, we're going to go for it. So I don't know if that's the play. It might not be, but I know that, but I know that they have that play in the playbook. So it definitely is something that they could have called here, in which case the chemistry between those 2 guys is just so good at this point.
Yeah, it's really, obviously it was already very established last year, but it's really getting to that next level where obviously we see how they bond on and off the field.
Okay, let's check out my MVP. and I claimed it before you could because you have talked about him a lot. So I said right away, I'm like, you want me to do Edmunds this time? I know you've talked about him a little bit. So
like, please.
yeah. But Edmunds played so well. He had such a good game. I actually put 4 plays in for him because I didn't pick a favorite play, so I'm still at 10 plays total. So
love that.
Yeah, it's okay. We made it.
Big for the
brand. But yeah, so Tremaine Edmunds had a fantastic game. He did a really good job of being that guy to hit Derrick Henry as much as possible, and he did that. He set the tone early, and he didn't stop setting it at all. There was no point in the game where he let up on Derrick Henry. If he had the chance to hit him, he was hitting him. So, let's take a look at the first play here. Tremaine, there's a motion, so he kind of shuffles over, and then he just fights through a block. You get a lineman climbing to the next level. He's fighting through that block, and he's getting his way all the way back to Derrick Henry in the backfield for like a 3-yard loss on this play. This was the first play that I saw from him where I was like, oh, Tremaine's playing today. Mm-hmm. He's playing. Because that's all. Not only is he fighting off a blocker that's getting to the second level and getting his hands on him easily, untouched, but he also is getting to the biggest, strongest running back in the league, hitting him square up and stopping him in the backfield. So this is the type of play that when you say you have a 6'5", like 260-pound middle linebacker, these are the plays that you want him to be making. And you can see the hand fighting and breaking off of this block better from this angle as well. But yeah, this was really the tone setter in my mind of like Tremaine Edmunds is here to play tonight. And I was really, really glad to see this one because he gave Derrick Henry a shot, and not a lot of guys are able to do this in the league.
No, it's not. A lot of guys, get gifts made after them. This is not something. I mean, you said this is something you expect from a 6'5", 250-pound linebacker, which is correct. The hitting. This is part. What you want. The hitting part. Getting to the spot is nothing you should expect from a 6'5", 250-pound linebacker, and that's why Tremaine Edmunds is special, and that's why we both are Tremaine Edmunds fans. Yes, there are things in the middle that he needs to clean up, but this is potential. This is the ability to literally get anywhere on the field and make a tackle. Sometimes that ability will get him out of position and over pursue because he's just so darn fast and he can get to the spot before the running back does. But he times this up perfectly because he was able to shed a block from an offensive lineman, which he got a lot of criticism for this offseason. Mm-hmm. He shows that he can do it, and he stays with the play. And the key with this play is, I think, why you like it so much, and it's definitely, I know why I like it, yards after first contact. When he touches Derrick Henry might get a foot forward afterwards. Mm-hmm. There's most people, after first contact of the tackle, they're getting at least a yard forward. I don't even know if he got the full foot. And that's just really impressive, and it speaks to the specimen that we have in Tremaine Edmunds.
Yeah, absolutely. Taron Johnson helps too when he comes over. But honestly, I think one of the things I like the most about this play is that the Titans used motion to get the linebackers to shift over. They shifted over, and Tremaine Edmunds still got across the field through the blocker and made the play in the backfield. So it's just one of those plays where it's like, yes, this is why we drafted Tremaine Edmunds in the first round.
Dare I say this is why we should extend Tremaine Edmunds?
I think you can say that, actually. I think that would be completely fair to say, is that, hey, maybe this is a reason right here. When he's the only one on the field that can stop this running back is what it feels like. Yeah. Moving on, play number 2 here. Most of these are run defense, by the way. The reason I like this play, he gives up maybe 6 yards on this play still, but you got a lineman coming through untouched to try and take out Tremaine. And once again, so he's fitted up and he's in trouble right here. His momentum's backward. This lineman has great leverage on him, and Derrick Henry's coming through the hole right now. So not a good position to be in if you're anyone on the defense at this point. But he somehow is able to stop, gather himself, and hit Derrick Henry to the point where Derrick Henry, once again, the yards after contact, he stops him. He gets like a couple yards because he spins out of it, but he stops his momentum in its tracks when he hits him right there. And that's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're at a complete stop. You're getting pushed backward, right? And you're able to break that block and get up in his face and hit him and push him back. This was one of it's just a show of his strength and his ability to hit. hitting that big back coming up through the middle. That's scary too. I'm even Edmunds is probably scared when Derrick Henry comes up through the middle like that. But it was just good hands, quickness, and then the power to hit him. It's just like a really solid play all around.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right, because at that point of attack, like, Edmunds is at the disadvantage for the momentum battle. Like, Henry's got all the momentum, and it's literally just, all right, 250 pounds against 250 pounds. Let's see which one wins.
Right.
And let's be honest. I mean, Henry wins for 2 yards after the contact, but I mean, who else on the Bills is stopping that freight train like that?
Right.
Like, because you said it before, the first 10 minutes of the show, you were like, the momentum thing with Derrick Henry, it's like, you need to stop him before he hits that 5-yard mark. Because once he hits that 5-yard mark, it's going to turn into at least 8.
Exactly. His momentum got stopped after 5, and he still got 2 more yards.
And he got 2. And I think because Edmunds got under the 3-yard threshold there, I think he won. I think he did his job. He did his 111th. And yeah, I mean, like, you saw how like Micah Hyde took that hit for the tackle that really got tackled. Like, that's the difference here. Obviously, it's a safety versus a linebacker, but like, I don't even know if Matt Milano at his healthiest could,
I don't.
This.
He's not big enough. I don't think Matt Milano's big enough. So first of all, you have to be big enough to hit Derrick Henry, and most of the guys that are big enough aren't linebackers. So there are still linebackers that are maybe a little bit smaller that could do this. Some of the better middle linebackers in the league, but Tremaine Edmunds is one of those guys too. And like, making plays like this is proof that he's up in that conversation. So.
Once again, the block shedding off an offensive lineman, that's twice now in these plays. That's something he wasn't so great at in the past few years, specifically last year. But he's shedding those blocks. Like, he's using his length, which is really the key, because sometimes he just kind of forgets about it.
Yep, absolutely. Moving on, play 3. Another run defense. Who would have thought? And it's another block shed and hit. I mean, it's like, I don't even know if I could break this down any different than what we've already been saying, because it's exactly what he did in those first 2 plays. He's sure this one, the block comes off of another guy, but 71 gets a good push on him. And he's able to just bounce off it a little bit, shed that block. And once again, he stops the momentum at 5 yards. And when you stop the momentum at 5 yards, you're winning against Derrick Henry, because if he gets the 5 yards, sure, that's fine. As long as he doesn't get a touchdown on this play, I'm happy. So just another one of those plays where it's like, I'm athletic, I'm big, and I'm strong, and I'm going to use all those things to make this play on you.
I'm curious when this was in the game. 71. That's the replacement for Lewan, I think.
I believe
Lewan's not in the game, so I would guess.
But
I think what's interesting about this play, I think at that point, that's after the long touchdown run. I'm interested why it took Edmunds so long to follow the blocking scheme, because you see that pull across and you're like, okay, that's probably where the run's going. But on the long touchdown run, Henry had a big cutback and he probably doesn't want to over pursue. And that's me just kind of speculating. But he wasn't quick to see, okay, pull across, follow the puller, go to the designed run gap. He was kind of,
he was late, a little hesitant.
Hesitant's probably the right word, but it didn't matter, because he has the speed to make up for it. And once again, you can see him on this play again. He's using that length to get off that block. And I mean, offensive tackles are known to have long arms, and you can see that long reach from 71 with his right hand, but it's not inside enough. And Tremaine just gets around it too easily with his long arms and breaks away. And once again, that tackle stopping that momentum, like, it's impressive. This is not a lot of linebackers in the league can do this. Like, this is top 10 linebacker trait. I don't want to say the whole thing or anything, but like that's a top 10 linebacker trait. If you're stopping Derrick Henry for, 1 yard after contact at most, because that's 3 times now.
Yeah. And to your point where he's kind of a little hesitant, there is a fairly good cutback lane here where I think Derrick Henry could have cut it back if he wanted to. I mean, who's that? Taron Johnson, who, credit where credit's due, for his size, he hits very hard. And I've seen him tackle Derrick Henry one-on-one in the past. But if you're thinking me versus Taron Johnson and no one else for a touchdown, that's not too bad of a decision to make. So that could have been something that they saw in film where it's like, hey, when they run this with this pulling guard, Derrick Henry will cut it back sometimes. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but maybe he was just hesitant. Maybe he was just afraid of getting sucked in. I know John Herring mentioned that as well. Would you rather you get sucked in? No, I wouldn't. Which did happen later in the game a few times where everyone just got sucked in. And that even happened on the touchdown run where Edmunds was up at the line of scrimmage already trying to fill a gap, and Derrick Henry was gone. Mm-hmm. So Matt Milano was in the same situation on that play, by the way. So, yeah, it's tough sometimes to be like, well, I mean, do you want him to be more aggressive here? He ended up making a play that was pretty darn good against Derrick Henry in the situation that you're in with the blocking that they had. So I can't complain about it too much. I think it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Play 4 here. This was just a little bonus play that I wanted to put in because the other 3 were all run defense. And I wanted to show that he actually did not do terrible in pass defense today. I remember when this play happened, I said, that was like good coverage by Tremaine Edmunds right there over the middle. And I think why I'm so impressed by it is because he's starting from a standstill in the middle of his zone here. Sure, he gives up the reception, but it's because it's a well-placed pass and the catch is made away from the wide receiver's body. So, but the athleticism was impressive to me here because he's not really looking at this wide receiver, and you can see that as he's coming across, he's not looking at him.
No, not even a little.
But he knows kind of where Tannehill's eyes are, and he probably sees him out of the peripheral vision. Maybe Taron Johnson's yelling cross, anything that can help him out. But the speed at which he's able to then match that wide receiver was just really, really impressive. That he was like, oh, this guy's coming through my zone. I got to catch up to him now, and I got to go play defense on this. And he almost defended the pass. He almost, if he was there a split second sooner, he maybe would have been able to get a hand in there. But like I said, the ball was well placed. The catch was away from the body. So there was not much he could have done as far as defending the pass itself. But I like the athleticism there to pick the guy up that's in your zone and then make the tackle after the catch.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive. Like you said, it is kind of tough to ask him to do much more than what he did just because of the placement and all that stuff. I mean, like, yeah, he got a little bit of depth off the rip of this play, but I mean, if he reduces that depth at all, like the throw isn't even made in the first place. I mean, this is as good as you can ask from him. This is really impressive though, because like he doesn't have a man. He's the only one in zone other than Micah Hyde. It's a cover 1. He's the underneath middle and Hyde is the deep middle. And I mean, the whole play, he's just reading Tannehill's eyes. Like he doesn't even, this is kind of something I'm a negative and a positive. He doesn't really identify any routes on this play. He's just totally locked in on Tannehill's eyes, which I get is probably what you're supposed to do as the rat in that cover 1. You're just in that middle. You're just, okay, I'm going wherever the QB's eyes take me. I'm taking away underneath stuff. There's no sense of overcommitting to one and then, letting the second drag route behind it get, this is as good as he could have done. He followed the quarterback's eyes and it brought him right to the ball. So it's a really good play. For all those that say Edmunds probably could have done better in coverage, I think I'll shed some light on that later. Same with the Milano stuff. The game plan wasn't conducive to linebackers doing anything well in coverage this week.
No. Definitely put him at an automatic disadvantage there.
Yeah.
All right. Who are you talking about next?
Now I got the man we've all loved to hate, which is kind of a problem, but hopefully we get it fixed soon. Jon Feliciano. What I will say, he is my LVP. He actually played a lot better than I thought he played on the broadcast. When I was watching the broadcast, I was blaming him a lot. But once I rewatched the game again, I was like, there's some plays where I could get nitpicky and add him as my LVP, but I really only had like 4, which granted is probably too much for an offensive lineman to have. Like I understand the whole idea for being an offensive lineman and, scouting their tape. Like you don't want to notice them. That's what means you're doing a good job. But for Feliciano, there was just a couple too many times where it's like, I'm noticing you, man. Like if you did a little bit better, the play could have been optimized in one way or another. This one specifically, I can't place the blame solely on him. Once again, this is another stunt at the line of scrimmage that we saw a lot. Um, you kind of alluded to how they were attacking our offensive line and doing exotic things. This isn't like the most exotic thing in the world. They're rushing 4 and there's just a stunt in the middle, but it gets the better of Morse and Feliciano. It's really tough for me to like I said, say Feliciano is the one at blame here, but he does let Landry through pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know what the communication side to that thing is, but like Morse is not in position to pick up that block. And Feliciano's just in a tough position to do anything other than pick up Simmons on the other side of that stunt. So, I mean, not much they really could have done there other than Morse just getting a little bit more depth off the snap. But I mean, if he does that, then you're just kind of conceding free yards to Jeffrey Simmons. So I don't know. You don't know this stuff. It's kind of hindsight 2020 again.
Yeah, and it's funny because I when I saw this play, I put more blame on Morse, but really it's just such a good play call because Morse is already so engaged in that block that by the time who is that 56 there?
I think that's
or
Landry,
58.
actually.
Okay, by the time he gets in there, he's already too deep for Morse to get a hold of him. So it's just a really good play by him and a really good play call. But yeah, that one's tough and I don't even, to be honest, I don't know how much more Feliciano could have done. And there were plays where I definitely was critical of him, and there were times when he didn't play that well and gave up some critical plays. But this one, I don't think you can really blame completely on him. I definitely think that maybe he could have held on to one guy longer than the other and hope that someone comes and helps. Zach Moss, maybe I know he's got a delayed route, but maybe he could have stayed in. It's a tough one. That's a tough one to kind of say who was really in the wrong with anyone.
Right.
But
I think it's a lot of things going wrong at once. That's an interesting thing, though, you said about Zach Moss. I don't know if this is a delayed route as much as like just a read on him with a check and release.
Yeah.
He's just checking to see what's going on. And it's like, okay,
and
they're
thought
rushing
it looked
4.
okay. And
like if they rush 5, okay, cool. I'll stay in and block. But they rush
Yeah.
4. So I'm going to go out into a route right now and be the check down for Josh. But yeah, it's kind of tough because you can't just assume, oh, they're running a stunt, I got to be here for this 4-man rush. Like, it's kind of, if this is a delayed route or even a check and release, like, yeah, Moss could have been there, but is that his job to do that when there's only a 4-man rush? Because then there's another guy in coverage and you should probably get out into a route.
Yeah, I don't really like what anyone on the offensive line is doing besides Dawkins on this play. Williams doesn't help out in the middle, tries to look over to the side like Feliciano does earlier, which I know is what they're taught to do is look inside, look outside. And he didn't see anything inside because that guy left. So he's, well, let me go check outside. But he didn't touch anyone on the defense this play at all, I don't think. Darrell Williams. And Spencer Brown also lost the rep. Right at the end here, he kind of gets pushed and pulled, but the play's over at that point anyway. Josh probably would have got the ball out to Dawson Knox right in front of his face there, if those other guys weren't in there, and the loss by Spencer Brown wouldn't have mattered. So, yeah, definitely one of those plays that's tough to diagnose on just based on a lot of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, because that's one right off the bat. I was like, oh, that's Feliciano's fault. And then once I watched it, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this next one, he really had trouble all night with Jeffrey Simmons. This is a quick one, just a simple run play. I think that's still Knox before he gets injured. Knox climbing to the second level to get that lead block there. And of course, Moss is just supposed to follow his lead block and then, make a cut where he needs to. He can't even get to the point where he needs to make a cut. Feliciano just gets pushed back and then swiftly shed. I mean, there's really not much more you can ask from Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, he gets depth. He stacks the blocker with depth, and then he sheds the blocker and makes the play. Yeah, it's a great play, but I mean, where's the strength? Like this is the strength of John Feliciano. It's run blocking, and it looks like he's in a pass set, which might be part of the play call, but the way Morse is stepping up, it's like a weird pass set where they're all, because of the way the defensive line is aligned, they're all kind of stepping to their man that would be coming on a pass rush instead of kind of like all flowing in unison like a typical zone run. But they're all taking their man really, and the Bills offensive lineman that gets pushed back, there's only one, and it's John Feliciano.
Yeah. If I was Zach Moss, and I'm assuming he knows the blocking schemes because any good running back in the NFL would understand the blocking schemes in front of them. I'd be shitting my pants anytime John Feliciano is one-on-one with anybody, let alone Simmons. So in a situation like this, if I'm Zach Moss, I'm saying I have to get out of here so fast because I know Feliciano's not going to make this block, or if not, there's a good chance he will screw it up. And that's, it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. And I mean, sure, you could say you could coach it to the point where it's like, well, maybe Knox chips him before he goes to the linebacker, which I think is what you would want to do in the future if you're going to keep Feliciano in and he's going against a top tier defensive tackle like this. He needs some kind of help because he's just not able to take these one-on-one matchups like that. And like, that has been proven. It's not even a sometimes thing. We've got to the point where it's like, you should not trust John Feliciano in a one-on-one matchup like this.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. And it's tough because even with the defensive alignment, here, like Morse is supposed to be helping Darrell Williams. Like Simmons is in the 3 tech and whoever 93 is in the 2-eye technique, closer to a 1 technique. So, I mean, if anyone's getting the double team, it's 93. And you're just leaving Simmons one-on-one, and it's tough. There's not much you can do. I mean, I doubt like this can't be like a play design audible. I don't know for sure, but like what I would have done retrospectively, you get that double team with Dawkins and Feliciano on 98, and then you get Knox to flush out Dupree on that right side of this formation. The problem with that is then the linebackers are just free. Mm-hmm. Like there's only so much you can do, and that's kind of the disadvantage that we're at right now, where we're kind of like trying to hide Feliciano's disabilities. It's just kind of where we're at right now. Like leaving him on one-on-ones is just kind of getting us in trouble, and you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, let's see. This last one, another Jeffrey Simmons one-on-one. He just gets push-pulled. Like there's no other way to talk about it. Like he just gets, once again, walked back into the backfield, and Simmons gets his hands on his jersey, pushes him back, and pulls him straight down to the ground. And just literally, it's just such a simple push-pull move. Like if you're to show an example of a push-pull, Simmons just did it to a T and had no problems with it. And of course, also gets a hit on Josh Allen and knocks him down. Like I know Feliciano and Josh have a good relationship, but like you got to start knocking your guy, Josh, if he's getting you knocked down on the ground. Like it's got to be eating into that relationship a little bit. It can't continue. Like you can't just keep allowing your left guards just get beat by any defensive tackle that lines up with them one-on-one. That being said, Jeffrey Simmons is a very good player.
Jeffrey Simmons is very good, and that makes a difference when if Feliciano was going up against a lower tier defensive tackle, it's usually he'll lose a rep or two here and there, but it's usually not this bad, and it's usually not as detrimental to the game. But when they're in situations where they got a guy on the other side that's scary like this, it's something to worry about. I don't know how the hell we stopped. Why can I not think of his name? Aaron Donald. Why could we, I don't know how we stopped Aaron Donald for 2 quarters of football last season.
Right.
He ate the second half, but 2 quarters of football, he was a non-factor. And I might have to go back and see like what was going on. Was Feliciano playing? I don't know. Because
that's a good question, man.
Because they held him in check for 2 quarters, and that was good enough for me, and it was good enough for the win too. So we'll take that.
That's actually very interesting. That's something we should go back and look at, see what they did, diagnosing those plays and what they did in pass protection against Aaron Donald. That's definitely interesting. I'm actually gonna, now that you say that, I want to go back and look at how they did against the Washington football team defensive tackles, because Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne are no joke. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't look into that specifically, but I'm curious what they did in pass protection, if they left Feliciano one-on-one or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't remember, to be honest, but yeah. Before we move on, I want to talk about what's going on in the chat. You guys are arguing. Everyone's arguing. There's a Titans fan in here. There's Tom Brady has graced the chat. Thanks, Tom. Good to see you. Nice to know that you've got some free time down there in the Bay. But yeah, I mean, everyone's talking about the conversion, the 4th and 1 failed conversion on the QB sneak. We can argue about that all we want. I don't think that play, everyone thinks that play lost the game, but that play didn't lose the game. There were many other things that happened throughout the game that lost the Bills the game. And that was just the thing that happened last. So Josh lost his footing. He was patient when he shouldn't have been. I think he's become a little bit predictable at this point because he likes to hesitate off the snap and then go to the left. I don't know why, because that's the weak side of his line. Like his worst lineman's there. So maybe he should stop doing that. And if he had the ability to get it on that one with the blocking that he had, even. So I know some people are like, oh, well, the Titans will stop everybody. And it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. He still could have gotten it if he just rode Morse's back, because Morse, go back, watch the play from that up top angle. Morse got like 3 yards forward.
Yes.
So if he had just kind of rode the back of Morse in, it would have been fine. They would have converted it, and Bills probably would have won the game. So it's just the last thing that we remember. There were so many things that happened throughout that game that cost the game, and that's not what cost us the game. It's just one of the things. Silas Whittle coming in with the comments. Next draft board should say round 1 through 7 offensive guard. I saw one of our guys. I can't remember who it was. It was probably Ryan.
It was
probably Ryan from Sports Rock 2 on Twitter there from the 585 report. He put up this mock draft, and it was literally all interior offensive linemen. I don't even think he knew who any of the guys were, but
does it really matter? You'll hit on one.
Yeah, one of them's got to pan out, right? No, but it should be priority number 1 going into the offseason, assuming that Tremaine Edmunds is re-signed. It should be priority number 1, absolutely, because it's just got to you got to take care of that. It is the weakest link of your entire team is that offensive guard position. So you got to get it right. And Darrell Williams, I mean, how long's his contract? Does he have another year after this one?
Yeah, so they re-signed him to a 3-year deal. I think there's an out after next year. I know both years we can get out of. Like after this year, we can still get out of it. I think it's just more friendly to get out of it after one more year after this one.
That makes sense. But yeah, it's we can talk about that play all we want, but that wasn't the play. It was just a play that happened to look really important because of the situation. And Josh does get someone said Josh gets that play 9 times out of 10, and he does. I think it was something between 8 and 9, like an actual statistic. That's one of the guys from PFF that used to hate Josh Allen tweeted this out.
It was like 29 of like 32 prior to that.
Yeah. So he actually does get it a lot, and that was on 3rd and 4th down in a 4th and less than 1 situation.
Right.
So he gets those a lot. He's very good at it. He's a big dude, and he knows how to run the play. It didn't work out. Doesn't matter. It's an October football game.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We're going to go to my LVP, also on the offensive line, and it's Spencer Brown. And I'm very sad to say that it's Spencer Brown because I was worried when he got put in as a starter. I was very excited to see that he was playing better than we thought he would. This game, he showed some of the cracks that we thought we were going to see a little bit earlier on. I'm glad it took this long for us to see them, but it still was something that we finally saw this week. So I'm going to start it out with this play, and there was really only like 1 or 2 other plays that I would have included, and there were some good plays that he made in run blocking, as well as there was a couple solid plays he had in pass pro as well. So this first play is a run play where he's supposed to be going to the next level and getting the linebacker, but he just doesn't touch anyone instead. And that kind of sucks. I don't know why he avoided that first linebacker. That's Long, I think, who, like we said, he had a hell of a game.
He had a really good game.
I don't know why he just let him run right past him. He didn't try to get a hand on him or anything. I think that's the guy he's supposed to be blocking. I think he just might have been a little surprised about how fast he got in there. I hope at least, or maybe that's Gilliam's guy. It could be as well. So he was waiting he was going to let Gilliam take him, and I'm going to go to the next level and get the guy at the next level. Regardless, you got to hit somebody, and he just doesn't here. So like I said, no, it can't be, because that's the pulling. Then there's Gilliam. Okay. So 51's probably Gilliam. And then you got Spencer Brown coming in to get he changed his course. I think that's the guy he's supposed to get. And
Yeah.
I overcommitted. I went too far inside. So yeah, he's supposed to be going for the middle backer. Gets a little bit too far inside and then kind of gets himself sucked in. It doesn't matter because it was a bad block by the pulling. No, sorry, but Feliciano did okay. I think it was
it was because 51 blew the play up. Gilliam couldn't get to his spot as fast as 51 got to the spot because Long was flying all over the place.
Oh yeah, Simmons too got free because Morse got Williams pushed his guy into Morse. Morse fell over. Simmons got free. Simmons made the play. So unfortunate. But yeah, we don't really. We're focusing on Spencer Brown not hitting anybody here until he decides to push the pile, which I will give him credit. He's one of the best pile pushers I've ever seen ever. He's so good at it.
Enthusiastic and energetic.
And it's like he's always thinking about it. It's anytime the ball carrier's past me right now, I need to get up there so I can push the pile. Like it's like I was saying to like my friends as I was watching, I'm like, I think he just like gets off on that. He's like, ooh, I'm gonna push some piles today, baby. Like, I might give up a sack.
He feels like those are also his rushing yards or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But like, you see how many rushing yards I got? Yeah. Well, I pushed the running back forward, but same thing. Still counts.
Yeah, no, that was a really weird play. It's funny too because like this is kind of what we talked about in a different light when we did his college film. Yeah, he doesn't really trust his athleticism on this play. Like he gets out where he needs to be before he even needs to be there. Like he's more athletic than what he gives himself credit for. He can get to the second level in like literally 2 strides and then break down a little bit and see where the linebacker is going to go before you overcommit. And that's kind of what happened on this play. You just overcommit.
Yep. Yeah, he could have been definitely more patient there. Yep. Anyway, let's move on to this next play here. All right, here we go. I circled the wrong guy, kind of. That's Knox on the end there. But anyway, this was really the main reason why I was able to consider him an LVP for this game. Credit to him. Afterward, he sticks with the play. He makes the tackle, but he's the reason this interception happens. Once again, the circled guy is not the correct guy in this one. That was Knox. But yeah, no real engage. I'm going to go to the other angle after this, after we let this play through, because we can see the hands a little bit better. But like I said, he makes the tackle, which I like that he sticks with the play and he doesn't, but he just whiffs. The engage is not there. He kind of whiffs on it, and that's a really unfortunate play. The Titans got a touchdown off this, and this was a really game-changing moment here.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where it's like you lose your rep, and you could be losing the game. And I can't remember if this gave the Titans the lead or not, but
I think it did.
Excuse me, but that's pretty much what happened here. It's like, oh shit, I just lost my rep, and Josh didn't see that guy, or Josh didn't think that guy was coming as fast as he was, and now that ball's up in the air, looking like a wounded duck. So it's one of those things where it's you can't take any plays off. You got to make sure that you at least get your hands on this guy long enough for Josh to get the ball out to his dump off, and that's not even, he can't even get it to that. So
he can't. This is one of those plays that goes towards what we were saying earlier, which is we didn't lose the game on the QB sneak. Like, this is a correctable mistake. He's so late to fire his hands on this, and just Danico Autry sees it the whole way. The whole way he's just like, you aren't firing your hands. Like, my hands are at the ready to swat them down the second they come out, and the second it comes out, he swipes them away.
Yep.
I don't know why it took him so long to engage, but we just talked about how he wasn't patient enough. Here, he's too patient.
Right.
It's just a bad rep from him. We haven't seen a lot. We haven't seen a lot of bad reps from him. Like, who said it? Jason Taylor. Rookie's gonna rookie.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
That's a rookie mistake right there.
They happen, but hopefully he learns from it, and that's the key. But yeah, this is one of those plays where, like, if this didn't happen, we could have drove down, got some points on this drive, and then it would have been a different ball game. This was a huge momentum play, like you said. Like, it was a game changing play. It was at the wrong time. I think this was the first offensive drive after the 78-yard touchdown by Henry. So just terrible timing for the whole swing of momentum to happen.
Yep.
So yeah, just bad timing.
Yeah, and I feel like we always get those plays against the Titans where it's just with the momentum completely swings and we are just like a dead fish out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's his leverage. I even liked his pad level. His pad level was
Right, it
really
was all-
good.
yeah.
Like you would think that this would have ended up being like a really nice play. But he just fans on it. He's fans on the block. And like you said, the late engage with the hands. I mean, like right here, like he's in a great position to make this block. And it's too late.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Anyway, let's move on. Good tackle by him. Still happy about that. This last one here is another it's another pass rep loss, but it's a touchdown because we have Josh Allen. So not every bad play from your right tackle is going to result in a turnover or a game-changing play that's bad for you. This was a game-changing play that was good for us. And that's what you get out of Josh Allen. So very happy to have Josh Allen around, but Spencer Brown still needs to win these reps. It's better than the last time. Better than the last time, certainly with his hands. He engages a little bit better. He slows him down, whereas on the previous rep there, he was pretty much just a swinging door. But Bud Dupree also got good pressure on the outside. On the other side, came all the way through. Is another switch move on that side. So, like I said, the schemes that they were running, they were just confusing the hell out of those Bills linemen. But like I said, we have Josh Allen, so sometimes that's okay. And he realized what was going on. Soon enough, he got out of the pocket and made a hell of a throw down to a wide open Cole Beasley, who was able to sneak out there. But yeah, Spencer Brown, like I said, with the hands here, I'll go do it in slow motion so we watch a little bit better. The second hand comes in a little bit late, not with a great engage, and just not a lot of power, I feel like, with what he was doing with his hands. He just didn't really have any control. Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's using his length to his advantage. He's using his length, but not like effectively in this one, and that's why I think he probably lost that rep.
I mean, to me, I feel like a lot of those things are true, but I feel like there is some power here because he doesn't even land his left hand punch. Like he really only gets his right hand, gets it squarely on the chest plate. That left hand is just, he doesn't land it at all. And if he got both, like, it's just because of the wide rush angle by Autry, he really only gets that right hand. And the right hand is like really central on his chest. And that left just can't land. And I don't know. He just doesn't have enough power, obviously, to block someone with one arm. And especially if you're losing a leverage battle when he's trying to go around your right shoulder and you have your right arm on the center of him. Like you didn't place your hands where they needed to be. You're not going to complete that block. That being said, if there's anyone to lose a block on this offensive line, I prefer it to be our right tackle because Josh loves to roll right.
Yes, our rookie right tackle at that. It's okay if he loses a rep every once in a while. Hopefully it doesn't result in an interception like last time. But also to Brown's credit, he could have flipped his hips and pushed him upfield if Josh didn't need to leave the pocket here. Josh is a little far back, but if he needed to, he could have stepped up and it would have been an okay rep by Brown if that was the case. So circumstantial as well. So it's, I'll give him a little bit of credit there. Definitely wasn't his worst rep because we already watched that one. So yeah, still not a great game from him. A little bit of the cracks started to show. And yeah, he did have most of his other reps were solid. There weren't any other real reps where I was, super critical of like, geez, what is he doing there? A lot of his reps were like, okay, yeah, he kept his guy away well enough. So hard to get too mad at him. I think he played okay, but that one rep. So, like I said, sometimes that's all it takes is losing one rep, and it resulted in a turnover and a huge swing of the momentum. So,
yeah, it was big. A lot of momentum swings in this game. Before I get to mine, it's actually great timing, Stanley. I mean, we're doing well. We're licking our wounds,
we're okay.
As, John Herring says we're licking our wounds. Just try to keep it respectful in here. Like, you guys played a good game. We didn't play our best, but you guys won. Like, be proud of that. You beat a good Buffalo Bills team, and we should feel a little bit better about our loss because we lost to a good Tennessee Titans team. That team is not bad, and we need to get over our hubris of, beating the Chiefs and things like that. We're
Yeah.
not the best team in the NFL just because we beat the Chiefs.
Right.
We
I'd
still gotta
like
come
to
every
beat the
Sunday.
Titans eventually too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. A lot of
but-
revenge there.
But it's you can't win them all, I guess.
Another thing, Larry Ford, objectively, I feel like that was the funnest Bills game to watch all year just because of the back and forth of it. Like
Until
the Bills
end.
did not like the Bills did not play their best, and I wasn't happy about the loss. But like objectively, as a neutral observer, that was a fun Monday Night Football game. So
and final drive, Josh Allen is always a treat to see.
Yeah,
when he needs to go score. Final drive, Josh Allen. He maybe was feeling the pressure a little bit at the end, but yeah, sucks. Close one, but yeah, you guys, Titans played really well, and like we said before earlier in the show, it wasn't like one thing that you can point to on the Bills where it's like, oh, they lost because of this right here, this guy, this play. It was like a lot of little things that built up throughout. And that's a credit to the team that you played against, because that means they were forcing a lot of mistakes throughout the game that resulted in a win. So very, very good, complete game from the Titans against a very good Bills team. So
I guess we'll just, stroke the ego of the Titans just a little bit more. I didn't have like a surprise player or anything, so I kind of wanted to explain why AJ Brown was open across the middle so often. People bashing Levi Wallace, I get it. Levi Wallace could have been better on a lot of these plays, but he's supposed to have help over the middle on a lot of these plays. And typically he's supposed to have a lot of help over the middle on these plays, but because of the defensive strategy against Derrick Henry, our linebacker level in coverage is not going to be a thing. And it happened a lot this game. I think AJ Brown had 6 or 7 catches. I think 4 of them were on play action passes over the middle. There were a couple, stick routes, things like that. But this is like, what do you want anyone to do here at the linebacker level? Like, Tremaine drops back as fast as he can.
Yeah.
He crashes on the run because you got to stop Derrick Henry. And then once he sees there's no run, he gets back into his zone. The problem is, he goes left and AJ Brown's going right. He can't identify that route. There's too much for him to diagnose at once. Like, yeah, maybe in 3 years when he's 26 years old and, I'll start pulling out the age argument and all that stuff. But no, I mean, this is a high level linebacker play to try and diagnose run. Oh, okay, it's not run. Flip your head, turn and try and identify crossers behind you. Oh, AJ Brown's behind me. I won't drop and get depth left. I'll drop and get depth right. And then you take away the passing lane. That's really, really high level stuff. I'm not asking Tremaine Edmunds to do that on a play-to-play basis. If he does it like once or twice in a season, that's impressive enough. Like, that's a really hard play to make as a linebacker. This is just, offensive scheme versus defensive scheme, and their scheme got the best of us on this play and a couple others. So I'll give you the end zone view too. But yeah, Clay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this I think was a result of the Derrick Henry touchdown run.
I think all of these are after.
Yep. Yeah, and I was gonna get that out of the way because I know that's something that I would mention on the next couple plays that you got for this as well. And the Bills had to change what they were doing. And I think, my theory on if you don't hit Derrick Henry within the first 5 yards, he could score a touchdown on you. The chances that he scores a touchdown on you is exponentially increased. I firmly believe that that's why the Bills are doing this, because they're like, well, we just have to stop. We have to hit him. If we're going to get beat, we have to make sure it's Tannehill that's beating us, because Derrick Henry will just kick the shit out of us and then, run over us after he's done so. So, yeah, it's tough when you got to play the run. And honestly, as I was watching through in the third and fourth quarter, I don't know why every play wasn't play action from the Titans. If you were passing the ball, if you're the Titans offensive coordinator and your running back has already ripped off a 75-yard run where he ran 22 miles an hour, you should do nothing but run play action for the remainder of the game, because it's going to suck up the linebackers every single time because it's Derrick Henry, which I don't understand why they don't. Like, I'm not even joking. Everything should be play action because it's going to work unless someone figures out how to stop it, which, as far as I know, I don't know if anyone has yet. So I guess I'd have to look into it. But yeah, running play action after Derrick Henry starts to do good is that's just unfair to scheme against.
Yeah, it's almost like they waited to pull it out. It's
Yeah.
like they knew, like, okay, we'll start running play action once he gets hot. Otherwise, it's not much of a threat. Um, but yeah, here's another one. I mean, yes, Levi Wallace is a little bit far off in this coverage, but that's definitely what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be giving him that space because there's only one safety deep, so he has to respect the deep ball there because he's not going to have as much help over top. You can see he flips his hips to the outside, so he doesn't get beat over top on the boundary side. And yeah, there's just a simple dig route on the other side of the linebacker level, which is once again non-existent. It's like literally 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and that's once again, thank you, Jason Taylor. That's the Henry effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's what happened all game. Like once that run happened, it was just over and over and over. So I mean, yes, I understand people want Levi Wallace to be better. I understand people want a better CB2, but this is a scheme thing. This is not a Levi Wallace issue. Might have been like one or two plays. I actually think maybe the next one wasn't even Levi Wallace. I I don't know. There might have been one play where I could be like, "Yep, Levi Wallace, bad coverage. That's why AJ Brown was open." AJ Brown was open because there's no linebacker level, and that throw, there's no reason not to make that throw if you're Ryan Tannehill, and that's literally timing wise right off of his drop.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough. The way Levi Wallace is playing leverage with his hips to the outside, it's hard. Sometimes you get beat on the inside because of it, and just the way it goes. AJ Brown got his hips outside and said, "Okay, see you later." So good route running by him. That's what you get out of smart route runners like that. And then, yeah, it's really the lack of the linebackers. If you can run play action enough and get those linebackers sucked up like that, it just makes it so much easier. Everything's open. Your quarterback can see, and you don't have to worry about those guys underneath. It's like, well, I can just go hit my guy. I can just throw it to him out there at 10 yards, and I know that no one underneath is going to be able to defend this one. So, yeah, pretty tough to try to put something together. Like I said, to scheme against something like that when you have to defend the run so strong, where it's not only do you need to stop this guy, you need to stop him fast. It just makes it really difficult.
Yep. And before I get to the next play, we'll get to Silas. If I never see Vernon Butler or Harrison Phillips on the active roster again, I'll die a happier fan.
Vernon, I can understand.
Yeah, Vernon, I can understand. It's tough for me to, echo those sentiments with Harrison Phillips. Definitely didn't have the greatest game, but like he was active because we were playing Derrick Henry.
Right.
It just made more sense from a personnel standpoint to have the heavies in. Like that's why AJ Epinesa was probably inactive and Obata was probably active. Didn't make much sense when it came to the Boogie inactive. I felt like if anything, he should have been active for a game like this. Yeah, I don't know exactly what Harrison Phillips could do better in this game. Like, yeah, he probably could have gotten a little bit more depth into the backfield and stuff like that. But it's like, this is just not how the Bills are built to defend. And that's kind of where I wanted to get next with did Frazier coach scared or conservative? Like the Bills are built to beat teams like the Chiefs and take away passing attack and get pressure on the quarterback when they're trying to make deep throws, not like quick releases like the Ben Roethlisbergers or pass or play action passes with, Ryan Tannehill. Like we're built more to get after you after 3 seconds with a 4-man front and let our coverage do the work on the back end. The way the Titans attack people is very contrary to how the Bills want to be attacked, if that makes any sense.
I think coaching scared. I don't think so. I think it's just like he made a choice. My choice is we're gonna make Tannehill beat us, and if he beats us, so be it. And that's kind of what happened toward the end of the game, at least. But yeah, I mean Phillips I think has potential to still be good. I don't have an issue with him seeing the field. He hasn't been playing as well as he was in the preseason. I thought he was going to have a great season coming out. He did have a little bit of a knee injury, so maybe he's not playing as aggressively as he would have without that, or maybe he's not at full strength. But Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough one to, like I said, I'll say it time and time again. It's just the two-dimensional teams are really the ones that scare me the most. I mean, the Chiefs don't scare me that much. I know that
Yeah.
we've beat them and they're not playing well this season, so that helps. And their defense is bad. The teams that scare me the most, honestly, like even last year, it was the same thing. It's the Titans and the Browns are the scariest teams to me in the AFC because those teams can pass the football effectively and run the ball very effectively.
Yeah.
Some of
That's a
the
very good
top
point.
guys running the ball. So those are the teams that I'm scared of. I don't want to play the Browns. If there's anyone I could choose to play in the playoffs, it would be probably like the Ravens are really good, but they're more one-dimensional
They
toward
are.
the run. And in situations like that, the Bills can stop the run. Teams like the Titans and like the Browns can we can stop the run against them, sure, but how much is that going to open up the pass game if we're committed to stopping the run, and then vice versa? So that's why I'm more scared of those two-dimensional teams, because I think that's who they can do the most damage, because we just don't really, I don't think we know how to scheme up correctly against those.
No, that's perfectly fair. I think you hit all that perfectly.
I don't know who you are. What about Rob? Or why you're calling out Rico? It's not Rico's show. I'll come on a Titans Weekly. Shoot me a DM. My at's right here. I'll come on. I'll talk. I'll talk about the game. Yeah, I don't know. Or hit up Rico on Twitter. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll talk about the game. Honestly, I feel like Bills fans can't get enough about talking about this game. Everyone wants to give their reasons and all that stuff. Not flat out. We lost this week. We could have been better. That's
exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of things that went wrong. So honestly, I like watching losses more than I like watching wins, because when there's losses, I can at least be like, what happened there? And when it's a win, I'm like, we're just built different. So, it's not as fun.
As depressing, yeah, I'll echo that. As depressing as this film session may be because we're watching a loss, I'm having a lot more fun with it because there's a lot more to diagnose.
Yeah.
Compared to our Washington football team film session, because we just kind of walloped them.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just not much to.
Houston was
right.
It's
not much there. All right, so this is the last AJ Brown one. So this is the one that I have the most concern with the actual coverage. I don't like that Teron Johnson literally does nothing off the release. I understand that they're in a zone right now, and I think he's like the curl flat on the bottom side, and this is supposed to be a cover 3. Yeah, and Trey gets out late because obviously there's no one on that side of the formation. But yeah, Teron doesn't really do anything to bump AJ Brown off the release. And once again, off the play action, you see that linebacker level get sucked up, and they try to get back. Tremaine's the first one back, and they throw it in Milano's vacancy. And I mean, this is kind of a point I wanted to bring up last, and I'm glad it's the last play. Chronologically, I didn't do this on purpose. I thought Milano played slow. He looked unhealthy. I mean, obviously a game against the Titans isn't his bread and butter. He's a pass coverage linebacker first.
Yeah.
And he's an energetic and enthusiastic tackler, but I don't know if he's like the best, thumper of a middle linebacker or anything like that. So
yeah,
it definitely isn't the game for him, but I still just felt like he was, a little slow recovering from that injury. He just kind of looked sluggish. And I'm not saying he would have sunk into this zone in time to make a play on it or anything, but I mean, this play shows it, because he really wasn't like choppy in his footwork, and like, I don't know, he just didn't feel as jumpy as he typically is.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I kind of thought about that too going throughout the game, because I didn't really see him pop much at all. So maybe he was playing a little bit slower than usual, and he just wanted to be on the field. And I'm sure he's healthy, but it's there's still a little bit of that mental, especially with a thing like a hamstring. All you got to do is run too fast, and you pull your hamstring again. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So just bring it up again. This Rico's on this channel. This is like, there's a lot of people. We have like daily shows with different hosts. I think Rico has 2 different days.
Yeah.
So he's on this channel. You're in the right place. Kind of. But yeah.
Thoughts? Play?
Not really. I mean, like, I
I'm
feel like
sick of this play
I
action.
I feel like I've said as much as I could say about how they had to play and how they thought they had to play, at least in order to stop the run. And yeah, when they I mean, you can commit to the run. Sometimes you give up the pass. And I said
Yep.
going into the game, I would like to see them shut down Derrick Henry and force Tannehill to win the game. They did. They
Yeah.
did that eventually, but not soon enough. Not before Derrick Henry tore off that big run. And
I think that's exactly what we said ending the show last week. We were like,
right.
yeah, I'd like to see them make Ryan Tannehill beat them. And, sometimes it happens. And Tannehill didn't even play that great a game, per se.
No.
Had an ugly interception early.
Yeah. It was yeah, he didn't play that well at all. He didn't even have any touchdowns. Derrick Henry
Yeah,
had
he
all
had
the
over
touchdowns.
200 yards and a nice little rushing touchdown, but
Oh, right, yeah. Forgot about that one. Anyway, let's move on and talk about the last thing here. And I just wanted to talk about Josh Allen, and specifically Josh Allen on the second to last drive of the second to last Bills possession of the football game. And that's because I don't know what it was, but he just made bad decision after bad decision in his reads. I don't know if like kind of like I said, where maybe it's he was a guy got to him a little bit and he wasn't quite ready to be able to take the team down the field. But he had a lot of opportunities to do so on this drive, and he didn't. And then the Titans got the ball back, they scored, and then the Bills had to score. I don't know if maybe that's it too. Josh Allen is a different beast when he has to score versus when he should score to help the team out in the long run. It's like he doesn't have, it's not quite there, where maybe he will take an extra chance just a little bit because it's like, well, we got the lead. I can take this chance. When that's just not the way that it should be. First play, this was the sack, and I hated this play because he had options to throw to. He had a lot of options to throw to, but he's only looking at one guy, and I don't even know why he's only looking at that. I think maybe he looks at a second guy as well, but he doesn't like it. But he's looking deep. His eyes are deep down the field right now. You can see by the angle of his body too. Yeah. He's thinking about throwing it deep. I don't know where. Because I think that's Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis isn't open. He's not going to be open. There's two deep safeties there, and that guy's way, way, way over top of him. So he's not open. This guy, you'd have to fit it over him. Beasley, you got to fit it over here. But both your flat guys are open. But, that's his first read. Sure, he doesn't want to take the first read, and now it's just too late. And that's kind of the thing is he takes a long time to think about it and to see if he wants that. And he even, kind of pumps a little bit to like maybe, but there's a lot going on here. And even after, so as he's kind of coming down, Beasley is doing a good job of trying to come back to the quarterback. So I think he could have put the ball out here low in the middle, just toss it either in the ground or in Beasley's arms and nothing else. It would have been perfectly safe to do. It's better than taking a sack at least. Because right here, as Josh is starting to go down, Beasley's flying past the dude because he's coming back to the football like he should. Sanders is wide open. Also hurts. I think that's Sanders anyway. It's hard to see from the other angle, so I wanted to. That is Sanders over there. And then then your dump off guy, Dawson Knox, or sorry, Tommy Sweeney. Dawson was hurt at this point. Tommy Sweeney's also open, where it's like right here, right about here, where he knows he's in trouble. Tommy Sweeney should be receiving the football at this moment. Cole Beasley, sure. I mean, because his eyes are already over the middle, which we'll see from the other angle. Maybe you decide I can go to Cole here, but right now, as soon as he feels that pressure, he should be thinking, I need to get this ball to Tommy Sweeney, but it happens fast. I'll give him that. But he wants too much here. He's not taking what the defense is giving him, even right here. When he's kind of taking that hop step, he doesn't have anybody. It was a hold by Morse. I just realized as well on this play. I don't know if they called that or not. I can't remember.
I'm sure they didn't. They were
but yeah, he doesn't aggressively step up in the pocket here either. I think if he's
not trying to throw it there and he just climbs.
Right. I don't know. It's hard to tell where his eyes are muddy. Here. If he's on Beasley, maybe, which I still think he could have thrown if he threw it more toward the middle, and just let him too much. If you let him too much, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just get the
It's
ball out of
already
there.
a
But
negative play.
I think he thought he could escape. He wasn't expecting Simmons to be able to tackle him like that. So it's one of those tough plays, but he has options to throw to instead of taking the sack, or at least getting rid of the ball. Like as he's getting tackled, throw the ball at Beasley's feet. That's not intentional grounding. It's, if you're getting tackled and you throw it to a receiver in the area, that's fine. And he just kind of doesn't. I think he just panicked a little bit in the pocket there, and I'll give Simmons credit there because it was a pretty good play by him.
Oh, for sure. He was all over the place. Yeah, I mean, this is a continued thing with Josh. It's just we want him to get the chunk plays. I don't think this is part of taking the good with the bad with Josh Allen.
Right, that's true.
We want him to get those chunk plays because they help our offense immensely. But on a drive where I think we're up 3 or 4 at this point. I think we're up 4, and another touchdown would secure it.
Even a field goal.
Yeah,
it puts you up by a touchdown, and
right, and it puts a lot of pressure on them to, of course.
The Titans got the ball, scored a touchdown. It would have been a tie game right there. We would have only needed a field goal to win the game, and we wouldn't have had to go for it on that 4th and 1. We could have kicked the field goal for the win. So
this is a 1st and 10, right?
1st and 10. Yep, first play of the drive.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think this was before they got behind schedule or anything.
No, this is the play that got them behind schedule.
Exactly. It's just I understand you want to put them away, but when I think there's 9 minutes left and you're up by 4, you just need to keep the chains moving, stay ahead of schedule, and keep that clock moving. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how much of Dawson Knox being in the game or being injured had to do with this, because if he gets the ball out to Knox right away there, Knox has shown the ability to make people miss and make more yards than what's readily available. He is very good after the catch. And I wonder how much of that was in the decision-making process. If he was like, all right, I'm a little more reliant on my wideouts that I have a ton of chemistry with, like Tommy Sweeney wasn't even with the team last year. I wonder how much that had to do with this, but I mean, he's the obvious option. Even really early, he could have taken, I think that's Devin there on that little out route after the play action.
There.
He could have taken him right there at the bottom of the drop. Obviously, I think that's David Long there. He picks him up pretty quickly. It really wouldn't be a big gain, but you're keeping the team on schedule. And that's really all you can ask for, especially in the situation of the game. This is part of taking the good with the bad with Josh Allen. Sometimes he just gets a little bit greedy. And I don't think this is necessarily sugar high Josh.
No.
This sugar high Josh would be, trying to throw this to Davis as he's
down. Exactly.
It's not. This isn't sugar high Josh. It's just, this is just the refining of the decision making. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, and even right here, you're getting pressure from the interior. This block's not going well, and this is when he pump fakes and climbs. When he at that moment, even way back, at that point. As that pressure is just starting to get there, he could look over to Sweeney right now and be like, I'm in trouble in this pocket right now. I should just get it off to Sweeney. So, it's one of those things where it's when you're in trouble, do you know where you're supposed to go with the football to the point where it's an instinct to you to be like, oh, time to dump it off. I'm in trouble. And it's not in this play from what it looks like, because he's getting greedy.
Clay, I got a question for you. Who's this smart gentleman?
Oh, that's my father. Hi, Mark.
This is
Father
Mark.
This
is good. This is really
He's
well
not
put.
A priest. He's just my dad.
This is well put, though. I feel like we do want him to be more like Brady, even though he's a little more like Favre. I don't know if I want him to be Brady, but on the spectrum, I'd like him to be a little bit more moderate than he is, because I think he's leaning a little bit too far on Favre.
Yeah, and we want him to be Favre's body with Brady's mind, where it's he can sling it anywhere he wants and do all this stuff, but he's smart about it too. We're trying to build the perfect quarterback, basically, is what we want Josh Allen to be. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely a gunslinger mentality here, and he wants a lot. Please dissect the left guard. What's the left guard doing? That's Darrell Williams.
Wait, on play 1?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I went back. I went to play 2 already. My bad. Daryl Williams.
Oh, I think he's talking about Feliciano
Oh, sorry, left guard. Yes, I was thinking.
because he doesn't touch anyone really.
Yeah. I
We're
mean,
really keen
like
on
I
Landry.
said, you go inside outside if you're a guard and you're not blocking anybody because you want to make sure because the pass rushers are generally on the outside. So you always want to go help your left tackle if you can, and that's what they're taught. And he thought Morse was doing a fine job. And I think Morse did okay. You know, he held him a little bit, but for the most part, it was a solid block to keep him away from Josh. It was Daryl Williams that got worked a little too hard because it's Simmons. So, but yeah, I didn't even see that before. Thank you for pointing that out. Play 2. This is a little bit sugar high. This is a little bit like that you don't need to get it all back in one play, Josh. The down and distance situation, you got a 2nd and 17 here because you just took the sack on the last play. So now what you want to do is get half of it back. That's what I would always say is if you can get half of it back, if you can get even back to the original line of scrimmage, that's a win. You can get close to the original line of scrimmage. That's a win. It puts yourself in a manageable, at least 3rd and long situation, which Josh Allen is very, very capable of converting. He's done it a lot throughout his career. Is get the 3rd and 12, 3rd and 11, and anything under is not difficult for him. So why he decided to throw this ball long doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I guess right here is kind of where it looks like where he makes the decision. And right now it looks okay. They're almost even, and you trust Sanders if you throw the ball to the inside of the field. But he underthrows, first of all, which is uncharacteristic of Josh to do. I think he was too afraid of overthrowing here. He really wanted the completion. So he was too afraid to overthrow. And he just, it wasn't the right decision. I mean, the 3-9 makes a good play on it. Good on him for that. The safety even does a very good job of catching up. Who is that? He's moving.
Yeah, I was about to say this is a great
real
play
fast.
by the safety. If I had to guess, I would say that's Biard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
He's moving fast. That's Jenkins.
Oh, that is Jenkins.
Yeah. Jack Rabbit Jenkins. God, if I had to hear that one more time on the broadcast.
I know, right?
But anyway, yeah, Jenkins is flying. So, but yes, underthrew it. If you're going to do it, overthrow it because he almost threw an interception and that would have really sucked. Especially given the situation that they were in. So I don't like the decision at all, especially because Cole Beasley is my biggest thing. Is Cole Beasley is open right now in the middle of the field. And I know that Jenkins was kind of running back because of what he saw. But right here, he's already going back.
Yeah, he's gone
because Josh is staring down this long post route. So if he comes off that long post route and says, "Well, I got everybody going to the long post route now, I can come off of that and throw to Cole Beasley over the middle," that would have been the right decision. And he would have got about half the yards back, which sucks. Because you can't really see it right here as he's throwing the ball, but there's the legs of Cole Beasley and there's the defender behind him. That's an open Cole Beasley. You give him a little bit of air and you can put the ball right here on that college hash mark. And I think that's a completion for a good amount of yards. So that's a frustrating play when your quarterback just wants a little too much. Like I said, almost throws an interception. Jenkins actually played really good defense on 39. So thank you, Jenkins, for that. And we kind of dodged a bullet there, even though, would it have ended up any different? Maybe not, because they get the ball back a couple plays later anyway.
I remember watching it live. I was halfway through saying, it's as good as a punt. And then he dropped it.
Yeah.
No, but you're dead on with the Cole Beasley thing. It's tough because I think Jenkins totally left where his responsibility.
Yeah.
I can't tell for sure, but he just booked it. He just completely booked it and left a clear vacancy in the middle of the field. I really can't tell what.
Is this cover 2?
I have no idea what coverage this is.
I think this is cover 2.
But there's so many people taking crossers.
Yeah, that's true.
But then there are people in zone.
I have
I
no
don't
idea
know.
what this defense is.
I don't know what this coverage is.
Maybe Josh didn't either.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him for not knowing what this coverage is. There's like two
Yeah.
guys in zones on the bottom side of the screen, and then there's three people manned up, and then Jenkins is just kind of floating. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what this coverage is, but I know he had check down options, and what you said
Yeah.
earlier is definitely right. Even early right there, whoever the running
Oh,
back is probably Singletary again at this point in the game.
I believe
Um,
so. Yeah.
yeah, like get half of it
Yeah.
back. Like
Get
I
anything
agree with
back.
that so much. Like, yeah, you just got to take what you can get, especially after a negative play like that. There's no reason to get it all back
Yeah, the
now.
more I
It's
look
just
at it,
compounding mistakes.
Beasley's even further down the field. If that's the first down marker, he would have got a damn first down if he
Yeah.
just threw it to Cole Beasley, who's wide open. Frustrating. Sorry. I the thing is too, I'm heavily criticizing Josh on this game. Josh had a really good game.
He did.
Like he did not play bad. He had 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. Josh had a very, very good game, and I'm being incredibly, picky about the way that I want him to play. But I think the reason I'm so picky about it is because this is a very important drive, and you have to change your play style a little bit when the drive is this important. You have to be more conservative about everything that you're doing, and Josh wasn't in this situation. He was trying to take the big shots, and those are nice. And like if he hit that and it was a touchdown, that would have been amazing. And
Right.
we probably would have been like that. Like first of all, it would have had to have been an amazing throw. So we
Yeah.
would be talking about how great the throw was. But it wasn't the right decision here, and yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, we're really only talking about it like this because we lost. Like
Exactly.
I think the 3 plays. I don't know what the next play you pulled is, but like these
It's
are his worst
the next
3
play.
plays. Yeah, like
It's
these
the
are
next
his
play.
worst 3 plays of the game,
I
and they
agree,
happen
yeah.
back to back to back.
And a lot of it had to do with decision making, and that's the thing where he still has the ability. We're already on play 3 here now. He has the ability to improve his decision making still, which is a good thing. That these are the things that are going wrong. It's not necessarily ability, because even this throw is a nice throw. It's a little bit outside, but like he fits it somehow into still a very small window. And we'll see from the other angle here. Like I said, it's a little bit out of bounds, but he's thrown to a tall wide receiver, and he says, "You know what? I'm going to put it high on the sideline, away from that safety. I'm going to see if my guy can get it." And yeah, that's would have been a hell of a catch if Kumaro was able to come down with that. But that's tough. The reason I put this one in here as well is because I think he made the wrong decision again. He threw to the right when he should have thrown to the left. He looks there too. He looks over. As on his second step, he does his little pump fake to Singletary here, going out on the side. That might be Moss. I don't know. He looks a little chunkier. So he does his little pump fake out here, to start the play like he always does on that kind of emotion. And he looked over there and he saw Diggs, who is now winning this route. And when he looked even, he was even. So if I look over, I guess it was a pretty quick glance. We'll see it a little bit better from the other angle, but watch Diggs at the top, winning his route here, and he has free reign down the sideline. Now there's a safety over top, so we can't just act like there is no safety. But this safety is inside the numbers, and this safety is outside the numbers. And Josh Allen tries to fit the ball in on the side where the safety is outside the numbers in the much tighter window to a guy that's your number 6 wide receiver. Sure, he's 6'5", and he can go up and catch the ball, and he's got strong hands. Sure. But you're going to your number 6 wide receiver on the outside in a tight window on a 3rd and 17 with a game, this matters for the game. Instead of going to your number 1 wide receiver who led the league in catches and receiving yards last year, who's wide open on the sideline with the guy further in, on the outside at the safety position there. I just don't understand why that's what he decided to do. In this situation, I'm going to look at where Diggs is. I don't really care if it's Jenkins on him or not, and I'm probably going to throw to Diggs. And I think that's what he should have done here. And I think if he threw the same exact pass, first of all, he wouldn't have had to throw it as far outside because the safety was further inside. So I think if he decides to throw that one instead, and maybe glance at Kumaro and throw to Diggs, that would have been the right decision to maybe glance over to hold the safety. But yeah, you can see I think he is looking to try to hold the safeties over. And that's why he looks that direction, because he really doesn't look toward Diggs much at all. Which I think makes it worse for me, that he doesn't even look over toward his number one wide receiver to try to make this play. It's all Kumaro all the way. So
yeah,
a little frustrating. And, like I said, he had a good game, and he just, these were three of those things that were little things that add up to the Bills losing the game.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Especially like, could you pause it right at the snap for the sideline? You're so right about how he's diagnosing like pre-snap. Like, why is he looking at the left to throw to the right? Because pre-snap, like, yes, this kind of looks like a cover 3 shell. But obviously they rotate into cover 2. But you can see at pre-snap, the bottom side corner is giving a lot more ground, whereas on the top side, our boy Jackrabbit, is much closer to Diggs on the release. So, I mean, if you're assuming it's a cover 3 drop, but there's press on the left side and more of an off man on the bottom side, wouldn't you think your fade route on the top side of the screen would be more open because he's being pressed at the line of scrimmage? I mean, obviously, if you're getting pressed, that means there's more resistance, but it's also Diggs, and I have more confidence in Diggs getting a free release versus, Kumaro getting bumped at the 7-yard line of his route and then trying to fit it underneath a safety. And like you said, even the safety rotation, like, the safety's hips are turned to the opposite side of Diggs, like, so early on, because of that pump fake that Josh gives to Moss so early. It seems like he read the play backwards on this one. And it's tough too, because like, he was forced to pick one of them. Like, he really only had a couple of options on this play. Like, yeah, Davis is streaking up the middle. That's literally just to pull a safety. Like, that's meant for, like, that's probably not meant to be thrown to. But on a 3rd and 17, like, you are restricted. Like, that Moss route, it looks really bad to throw it to Moss there on 3rd and 17.
Yeah, I was even going to say, like, hell, even give it to Moss here, and he's got to make he's got to make maybe 2 guys miss, maybe 3 guys miss to get that first down by the time he gets over there.
Hell of a play, but still.
Yeah, but it's Moss. I mean, Moss could do it. I have full confidence he'd be able to do it. But Josh Allen has confidence in his arm. I don't have a problem with him making the throw in general, because it was close. It was close, and he almost made it anyway, regardless that it was to the wrong side, to the wrong guy. He still almost made the play. So
yeah.
And I do want to touch on what John said earlier. Yeah, it's I wanted to point it out because of the situation. You're up by 4, and you want to keep the clock running, and you want to get positive yards. You don't want any negative plays in these types of situations. And and like I said, Josh he had a very, very good game. He played very well in this game. It's just there are some times when making a good play in the middle of the second quarter isn't as important as making a play on the second to last drive of the fourth quarter in a close game. And that's why I wanted to highlight it, just because I think it was important to the game, maybe more so important than a lot of the other drives in the game, because the situation, what you have to do when you go out there, and he wasn't able to do it. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I think he could have played better there, and this is one of the areas where I think he can improve. So that's why I wanted to touch on it. But that is a good point, and he did have a good game. So I understand why why it feels like we're being really harsh on him here, and we are being really harsh on him
because we want to win. That's really what it comes down to. We're just as butthurt as everyone else.
Right. And I love John. He's in the chat every time that we do these film sessions, and he always has really good input. So that's why I wanted to kind of respond to that a little bit, and just kind of say that he had a good game, but he could have done better. But I think that kind of goes back to toward the end of last season, some people were saying Josh Allen needed to play better. And when, he was having that MVP caliber type of season where it was like, what do you mean he needs to play better? And it's because he was carrying the team then. And so it's like, well, you're carrying the team, and your team still isn't like at that level yet. And sometimes you need to, sometimes that's what's required of you, is to carry the team. And if you have the ability to do it, which I think he does. And he showed that he can last year. So far this season, he's not had to carry the team. And because of that, we haven't seen his stats look as good. We haven't seen him play as complete of a game as we saw last year. I think, he hasn't had a game this year that would, be in the top 5 of his games last year, I don't think.
Right.
Because he played so well last year because he had to. And that was his job, was to go out and win the game himself. Now the defense is good. We've played bad teams. He doesn't need to go out there and win the game anymore. But in that situation, he could have gone out and he could have put that game away. And he wasn't able to do so. So those are tough situations, but they're great situations to learn from. And I'd much rather he do it in October than in January or February.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's all about what we do to respond from this. And obviously we all know how we dealt last year with the loss going into the bye. And, hopefully we can recapture that magic and, finish out the year strong after our bye, because we got quite a bit of a cakewalk. It's really, I don't know who you're scared of the rest of the way, but really the short list is like the Bucks. Like, of course, we could lose any game for the rest of the season, but the next one I really have circled on the schedule is the Bucks. Like, I expect to win every other game. And if we lose any of the other games, it would shock me. But really the 3 games coming into this year, it was Chiefs, Titans, Bucks. Those were the teams I was most afraid of coming into this year. And I think that's rang true. I think the Steelers, blindsided us a little bit, but I think it was good for us. I really think that loss was a good loss to take early in the season. Learn from your mistakes and grow from them. And I think we have a lot. And I think we're going to do exactly the same thing from this Titans game. So I think there's a lot of positive football coming our way in Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree. The schedule is so easy. And the Bucks, I think, are the one team where I'm really looking, are really the one team where I'm like, I don't think we're going to win that one. They've got that interior defensive line that's just, I think, just going to eat us up. Josh isn't going to have any time to throw. So Dable, here's your opportunity, man. You want to be a head coach, go out and beat the Bucks.
True.
That'll get you a job easily. You can choose where you want to go if you go out and beat the Bucks. I am enjoying all the comments about quarterbacks. Zach King, this is a great point, Zachary King. Through the first 6 weeks, he's got more yards, 1 less TD, 1 less pick, compared to the first 6 weeks last year. And you're right. He's playing well. He's on pace to do just about as well as he did last year. So he's doing well. I guess you're right. And I said, maybe any game that he had this year wouldn't be top 5 last year. He had some really, really good games last year, so it's hard. It's hard to. I think maybe the Chiefs game you could put up there because he did stupid.
Actually, that probably
he made some of those throws that were completely insane, and he really did kind of carry a little bit in that game. So you could maybe say Chiefs game, and his yards per completion was insane too. And the problem is not Josh Allen, and like we said, there are a million different little things that added up where they weren't Josh Allen's fault, and that the interception he threw was not his fault. And that was a huge swing of momentum. So football games are not won and lost on one player, one play, 1 inch. It's a lot of things. So
it's a lot.
I still love Josh Allen. I still think he's going to be an MVP someday. And I think he's going to win us a Super Bowl someday. I just want to talk now about the things that he is still can improve upon, so that someday when he is doing those things, I can talk about how awesome it is to see that he's done that.
Yeah, facts.
All right, we've been talking for a long time now. This one went on for a long time. I feel like that happens when we get a little hyped up about some of the games, and a big loss to on a Monday Night Football certainly got us pretty amped up. So thank you to all those who have stayed around. I think we got up to into the 90s at some point of viewers. We still got 63 in here with us. So we appreciate you guys for sticking around and hanging out in the comments with us and criticizing us at times. I appreciate constructive criticism, so continue that. And we even had some Titans fans stop by and talk a little bit as well. So that was fun.
I like that that's becoming a weekly thing.
I'm enjoying it. I really like talking to the opposing fan bases, even after losses. Those guys that came in were pretty nice, and it was cool to be able to talk to them. But like I said, thank you guys for sticking around so much. hopefully we got a little bit of a better game to talk about, not next week because we're on a bye week, but the week following. Miami gets to see angry Josh, and Miami at this point, I can't wait till Josh Allen's 37 and runs for a touchdown and screams at the Miami fans that he owns them, because that's he's on his way already. So, and unless they trade for Deshaun Watson and Deshaun Watson is able to play, then I would love to see more years of Miami domination from Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Miami's a trap game. I don't know.
After a loss like this in a bye week, I'd be shocked if we're allowing a loss right after that. But
yeah,
who knows,
angry Josh out of a bye week. They mentioned it themselves. They lost going into the bye week last year, and they didn't lose a game until the AFC Championship after. So maybe we'll see that. Although I still think that they're going to lose to the Bucs unless something changes with the Bucs. Basically, with the Bucs interior defensive line, if someone gets hurt, they might win. Otherwise, I think they're still going to lose that game. Anyway, thank you guys. We love you all. We'll see you next time. Go Bills. Any closing thoughts, Kendall? Other than that,
nah, man, nothing more. Go Bills. Everyone, stay positive.
Yeah,
still got a great team.
A lot of football left to be played. We still got a good team behind us. Go Bills.